What is going on? Hello, hello, hello. Namaste. Sony here, bring you a little more soul sense, expand your consciousness and your life. Once again, thank you for joining me here for another episode of The Download, the podcast where I talk about things that you won't. Yes, today I am going to talk about, today's episode here on The Download, I am speaking about, extraterrestrials. And I really, I really want to make this a really important topic. Because I think that a lot of us don't talk about this, and it's important because whether we realize it or not, guys, this extraterrestrial topic is very, 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 very important. And it's a huge part of a life without a lot of people being conscious of it. And here I want to express this because my journey with extraterrestrials has been quite the adventure. And I want to get into that because I want you guys to understand a little bit of how I got started with this and why this topic really, I want to say, caught my attention. And believe it or not, it had a lot to do with my relationship with spirit and my relationship with the universe and my relationship with trying to figure it all out, guys, just trying to figure it all out. And you know, I was very confused for a long time about this topic because I was not understanding that these things are not, this particular topic, I want to say, is not a separate thing from spirituality or life or being human or of our existence. It is very, very, a very big part. And I'm going to give you a little bit of history of why this is a topic that is a part of my journey and why I feel that I have to talk about this stuff. I mean, this obviously is a big part, okay? Big part of my ascension, my raising consciousness and becoming more aware of the universal truths, right? So as I started digging really deep through my journey and I started researching more information and more knowledge, ufology is one of the main things that I have studied and I feel a very deep connection with. And I want to give you guys the basis of this so you can understand. And then we'll go into one of the people that I've started following throughout the years, which is the topic of this also. His name is Emery Smith. And I actually was introduced to him by David Wilcock through Gaia. If you guys don't know about Gaia, it's all about disclosure, all about spirituality, all about health and wellness. It's Gaia.com. If you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you do. It's for those of you that are seeking higher knowledge and awareness and do raising consciousness and bringing the light into your life. Awesome stuff. There is thousands and thousands and thousands of different programs that will help you in your journey. So with that said, I want to say that my personal journey with extraterrestrials had to do a lot with the stuff that I would dream about. My first extraterrestrial connections and experiences were in dreams. And it was like, I'll share maybe one or two experiences with you to help you understand. And then we'll go into the next thing. So I would have dreams where I would have an encounter with an extraterrestrial. And I believe I've had encounters with several different species of ETs. And this particular one that I'm going to tell you guys about is, I believe, was the Mayans, the ancient Mayans. That I believe what I felt, what with the connection I felt, because, or I feel that I have a connection to the Mayans in this way of, we are all multi-dimensional, right? And we have many, 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 many past lives. I feel a connection to a lot of different types of beings and different nationalities and different ethnic backgrounds and different places, and from earthly to galactic. So this particular encounter I had, I was taken up onto a ship, but it wasn't like a spaceship. It was a pyramid, like it was a ship in the shape of a pyramid, and it was a Mayan looking pyramid, one of like the more flatter ones. And in this, like the front part of the ship like opened up, and it was like stone on stone. It was made out of stone. It was not made out of metal or like a light ship or anything like that. It was metal. You can, and as the ship moved, right, as it, when I first entered, it was like the door opened. Like, imagine like those huge boulders just like separating themselves. You could hear the stone grinding on itself, and it was like right. And then the ship opened up, and I walked in, and there was 3 beings in there. There was 2 males and 1 female. And this is the thing, they were human. They were humanoid, but I knew they weren't. Does that make sense? I knew that they were a part of this world, but not of this world. And it was said to me telepathically that I was there, like having an encounter, like a meeting, and I was to receive all this information, and I was to bring it back down, and then, you know, integrate that later on as being conscious of it and working through of that, and then trying to understand the whole experience. Now, if any of you listening to this have had any experience with the Mayan ETs, please let me know, because I have yet to encounter anyone who has had anything similar to this, as far as like having a encounter with the ETs themselves. Now, this was not a dream. Now, I want to say this was a very, very lucid. This felt very, very real. Of course, a lot of, like most of my dreams are, I'm there, because we, you know, if those of you guys that know that we are, when we go to sleep, our energy body, our astral body goes and does its work. It has its own mission, that is a part of the collective, a part of the, what we would call the 3D vessel, right? But it's out doing its work. And for me, that was one of the first encounters that I would say I remember intensely. And for me, my dog's barking, sorry guys, but for me, it was more like it was like a mission, a download. It was an encounter. It was a meeting that I was having, and that was one of the ones that really was like a powerful encounter for me. So that's one of the, I would say, encounters that I've had. I remember them being, and this is going to sound weird, whiter than I expected. But they did have olive skin, probably about my color. I'm very tan right now from moving to Arizona, and all I got to do is walk in the sun, and I tan. But normally I'm pretty white. I do have a little tan to my skin because I'm olive complected, but I remember them having like a nice caramelly color, and straight black hair and very beautiful, mind you. And I thought that was pretty awesome. And the thing is with this encounter is I have had several dreams with going into pyramids or being standing in front of pyramids and being really scared to go in, like this monster was going to get me. And I think that was the first conscious encounter that I had where I actually answered and I was conscious of the meeting. And I believe that was my conscious mind integrating, like finally, getting that ET encounter a little bit more easier to swallow, we'll say. I would say, like, as far as that kind of experience. I'll share another one with you. There was another one. I had very lucid dream, but I was there. I was there. I wouldn't even call it a dream, but it was definitely after I laid down and went to bed. But it was a very lucid encounter. And this one was, now mind you, I was still living in Chicago when I had these experiences. The other one was when I went to sleep. It was another day that I went to sleep. And this time I went to a forest preserve that wasn't very far from where I lived, maybe a 12-minute ride, maybe 15 to 17 minutes away in traffic. And in the stream, I was standing in front of the forest preserve by like the main road, right? And I could see down in the distance, and something was, now mind you, this is at night, nobody else is there. I was called to go down into the forest, and I was like, why would I want to go into the forest? It's a little scary, but I did it anyway because I felt something calling me in there. I was like, I have to go. I have to find out what is going on. So with that, I started walking into the forest, and as I got a little deeper in, maybe not even a quarter mile, okay, maybe we can compare it to blocks, maybe a block in, I got maybe a block in, and I noticed like a hazy white light in the distance. I was like, what is that? And I was like, okay, well, I tried walking a little closer. Of course, like I was going very slow because I didn't know what that was, but like I felt like I was being pulled there, and I needed to go. And I got closer, and I got close enough to see the shape that it was an actual ship. And as I got there, I was like, oh my God, it's a spaceship. It's a UFO. I was very conscious of that. Out of a sudden, out of nowhere, okay, there was maybe I'm 5 foot, guys, okay? This being appeared to me to my right of me as like I'm looking down to the forest, and this being was about, I had to say it was at least 12 to 14 feet tall. It manifested to me as a kachina, okay? And it looked like a kachina. And this is the first time that I had an encounter with kachinas, and I was introduced like consciously to that part of that reality. And I'm trying to remember, it had blue skin. It was very, very buff, chiseled, like Adonis type hand, and it had like the Native American dressing, like around the knee down to the ankle, and with the shoes, and it had like a matching headdress and some kind of skirt on. But that's the only way I can describe it. But it looked like a kachina that you would buy from the store. I actually bought one. I should have brought that up. I didn't think about that because I didn't know how this podcast would manifest. But I actually bought one that reminded me a lot of it. This was amazing because I didn't know. I didn't really know at that time what it was. I was like, oh my God, because I had never seen a kachina ever before in my life. And at that point, because this was many, 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 many years ago. And when I saw it, it was like speaking to me again, and was speaking to me telepathically. I was a little scared, mind you. Now I'm in the middle of a forest, and this huge being appears to me. But I wasn't scared of that. It was more like a God type of thing, and just in awe. And I was trying to figure out why I was having this encounter. I believe I received like some information that night, and that was to introduce me to the Kachina, and that part of me. And the download was that I'm a part of that energy, and that I'm a part of that world, and I was a part of this reality, and that I was meant to do some more research on the Kachina, and bring that out to the world. So this is actually the first time I'm talking about these two encounters publicly. If you guys, any of you guys have had any encounters like this, please let me know, because these are some of the most powerful that I've had. And then I've had others, but I'll tell you guys about those two main ones. We'll leave that for another for another podcast. But what's really powerful about these is that one thing led to another, and then I had, mind you, for years then, after these encounters, I started seeing a lot of light ships, and I started noticing a lot of lights in the sky. And in Chicago, unless you're conscious of it, it can escape you as stars. But I knew that I was seeing light ships, and the way family works is that we all have our own team that guide us in this world and in this reality, and that are looking out for us, because they're our family, and they're trying to guide us to raise our consciousness so we can be part of that whole relationship, right? Because it's about developing our relationship with that energy, and developing that awareness, right? To understand that we're not alone. We are more than just a physical body, and we are amazing beings. So those are the two big encounters that I have. But for years and years and years and years and years, I had seen tons of light ships in the sky. And then finally, I started doing some research on the Kachinas, and I started learning the history a bit, and I finally got like explanation, and I was like, oh my God, I had an encounter. And this is like it was just tied up with so much with the natives, and with our galactic family, and it's just ancient knowledge being manifested to me, and to let me know that I'm always a part of that energy, that I am Kachina. So I was very grateful for that, and I believe that that's what ties me into my main guide. My main guide is a Native American, and from getting some validation on that, I found out through a reading that my great 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 great, you guys get the picture, great grandfather was a medicine man chief of this particular tribe, and I was his granddaughter. So that has been a part of my guidance to wake me up into this time and space reality experience of my native background and my gifts as a medicine woman and as a shaman, and that is like one of the main guides. So that's how the spiritual aspect of it is connected with the galactic, and I have thought that was like one of the most powerful awakening moments for me, because I finally got validation of what had happened to me. So yeah, and then so for, like I said, many years I've seen tons of light ships, and then when I finally went to Sedona in 2013, I got a chance through it was called a night it was what was it called? I went on a night vision quest, I guess you can say, UFO quest, and it was like was with a woman who does these tours at night, and she uses military goggles so you can see the light ships in the sky. And I went out 2 nights, and the first night we saw 15 ships. The second night we saw 13. You can clearly know that that's what these were. She explained what satellites look in the sky. Obviously, it was, planes look like in the sky. This was nothing like that, and you definitely knew, and as you resonated with that that was validation. So those are my few encounters. There's more, but those are my few encounters with um, our galactic family. And from what I feel and I understand is that, and what I had gotten was from the same person that I went actually um, on this. It was I guess I got a reading from the same person that did these tours, a night vision of light ship tour. She's also a medium, and I had a reading with her, and she also validated for me at this time. This is back in 2013 when I first went to Sedona, but she validated for me that I was an old abductee, and it made sense because I have um, it gave validation to all the weird stuff that I would happen to me, like all these experiences. And also, I don't know if you guys, this has happened to you, because I spoke to her about it. Is I would have like weird marks on me throughout the years that I had no explanation, scratches, bruises, and stuff all over my body. I kind of let it go as in like whatever, cleaning the house. Maybe I have a dog, maybe playing with my dog to give some kind of explanation. But I understood through time that that's what was happening to me, and it made sense because as you raise the consciousness, you start becoming aware, more aware, and more aware. And basically, the universe basically feeds you a little bit at a time what you can handle, because it's a part of disclosure. It's a part of the big movement that's happening right now. And this is why I want to share my story with you guys, because I've thrown in a little bit in my videos here and there where I talk about galactic family, but I haven't really came out and told my personal story with our galactic family and our ET family. And know, guys, that we've never been alone. We have many different races of ET family that are there guiding us. We have I've mentioned them, and I believe in a different podcast, but I'll just name a few. The ones that I feel a personal connection with is the first ones I believe that I started feeling connected to was the Syrians, and then the Pleiadians, and I believe I have some ancestry in the Arcturian um, family too. But we all have a little bit of everything, because all of those originated from different things, like places in the galaxies, um, as far as like Vega and Orion. So there's a lot of mishmash. Actually, us here on this planet, we are hybrids, and we're an experiment, and we have a little bit of everything in us. So, but the main stories go back to like when the Anunnaki were here. It wasn't just the Anunnaki that actually seeded us and had a role to play in our evolution. That is for a whole nother podcast, but we can talk about that. Because today I wanted to just give you a little bit of my experience with ETs and my experience to evolving. I posted some weeks back I finally got a chance to go to the Sedona Cosmic Awakening, and I got to meet so many people that I've connected with through the years. But I'm going to tell you particularly about this one, because it was one of the main reasons that I wanted to go. Is I wanted a chance to meet David Wilcock and really thank him for the journey that I've been on with him through following his work throughout the years, because he has devoted so much of his life to raising his consciousness and helping us become aware of our galactic family and the cosmos and spirituality and sacred geometry and quantum physics. And he digs really deep into the wonders and the majestic and the magical wonders of who we are. And he has helped me understand a lot of the things that I wasn't able to figure out on my own. Of course, we're all in this journey together as us star seeds. raising consciousness and helping each other grow into our of self-awareness. This is a part of knowing thyself, and this is a part of the journey of ascension. So when I went there, I got a chance to meet David, and it was a pretty amazing experience. But it was David that introduced me to this next person that is what is this podcast topic about is Emery Smith. Emery Smith and Corey Good are two of the two big guys that I have been following for a few years now. Corey a little longer, but Emery Smith is recent, maybe in the last 3 years, I want to say, maybe a little longer. But he has touched base on a lot, and Emery Smith is he does a lot. He's a part of Disclosure. He's worked with because there is our government, and then there's our secret government, okay? And this is what like the ufology community is all about. It's about insiders that have worked directly with our government and the higher ups and have had their personal experiences with the ET world. And know that ET world is not something separate from us. We are ETs, and we're just one specific species of ET. There is an endless amount, okay? There is trillions and trillions of galaxies and realities, too much to even fathom with the human mind, okay? So believe me, we are not alone. But Emery Smith specifically, he has had encounters where he worked with these secret governments, right? We'll say it goes into a lot of detail, but basically he started working just like being isolated into rooms, and he was hired to do like experiments on these. It was like body parts at first, and he started realizing this wasn't like any kind of normal human or any kind of normal like fish or animal. He realized that this was something different. That led on to like having full-on contact with ET, and he actually started coming out and speaking out about it with many different outlets. But how I started following him was through Corey and David, and I started watching his work on Gaia, again Gaia TV, and I started listening to a lot of his stories, and it was pretty amazing because what I have learned and what I understand, guys, is that every type of animal species that you can think of has a humanoid version of it, and it's either scales, feathers, skin, or fur. Okay, has galactic origin, and from my understanding is that there are benevolent and malevolent beings all over the universe, and a lot of those malevolent would say a specific races have been the ones that have been running this world for a long, long time. It's no secret, as far as like the little gray men, little green men, whatever you want to call them, those are a part of like the reptilian species and family, we would say, of beings. And those are actually, from what I'm understanding, are organic / mechanical droids that are used by other species, right, of ETs to communicate and come down and do like the experiments and stuff. And from what I understand is that we sign in our soul contracts, we actually sign up when we manifest here to have these experiences. We just forget. And a lot of us who have these experiences, we have forgotten that we have agreed to have this to help this planet ascend and learn about each other and our galactic family. And some people have had what we would experience as like a negative experience of being abducted, and you hear these crazy stories, they've made movies about them, and they have made documentaries about them, and they have there's thousands and thousands of uploads on YouTube of people's experiences, especially now when more of us star seeds are feeling more comfortable to coming out and speaking about these experiences. Has really put us in the forefront of our evolution and understanding that this is a part of our reality, and it's about everybody's journey to that knowledge. And some of us are still only, ready to learn kindergarten education. Some of us are ready to learn grade school and high school and college, and some of us have become professors. And it's up to you how fast you evolve your soul. And as you evolve your soul, your spirit, you start understanding that we're multidimensional, that we have ET origin, and we have um, angelic origin, we have galactic, we have so much, like I said, is a mishmash, and there's so much opportunity there to teach you guys about all that, but we're going to have to break this down in different podcasts. So today I wanted to talk about Emery Smith, and I wanted to introduce you guys to him because he is no holds barred, along with Corey Good and David, just breaking it down for us and telling us the tea on what's really going on. And I think it's important that you guys at least understand that we're not alone, and there's an internal war. It's a spiritual war, but it's also a galactic war that's going on for us to. This being the huge, if not like the biggest part of disclosure, okay, because we're not alone and we have ET family, but also, a part of like the hidden technologies that are there for us, but they're being kept from us. And this being a part of disclosure, and how all of that is combined, and like the disclosure and like what's being kept also is from us understanding our own spirits and being taught that, and understanding that we're multidimensional, and understanding that we are divine unified field expressing itself in every single one of us and every single thing. That knowledge was not disclosed to us either, and because of that, it's added to us being asleep. And it's time for us to wake up, guys, and understand that we're not alone. We've never been alone. The paranormal is very real. Galactic family is very real. And it's time for us to wake up and step on up and understand that we need to start having a personal relationship with these realms and with these realities, so we can evolve our souls and evolve our world and start changing it. Because in understanding that we do have ET family, and we do have technology that's being suppressed to keep us from evolving, that we could be living a totally galactic society. Like those movies that you're being shown, that is being shown that stuff is real. It's just being withheld from us. And from who specifically, we'll make a specific podcast about that one. Let's start here. But we need to wake up and understand that this is a part of disclosure or part of our ascension. And I want to end it with that. I want to throw that out there for you guys to start, so you can understand. And I wanted to share my story of my personal stories with Galactic Family. Now, if you guys have had something similar, please leave some comments. I want to know, because it is time we raise up and raise the bar for not just ourselves, but for the world, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and rise up and change things, guys, because living in fear gets you nowhere. You got to be the change to make the change, see things differently, to become the change that you want to see in the world. And we can start here by sharing our stories and the love and the light to raise consciousness in the unity of one, and know that there is an endless support of and tons of people out there on the same journey, and it's up to us to keep giving and sharing that. And with that, I want to tell you that I love you. I hope a lot of you guys have had your own personal journey and encounters. Please don't be scared to share them, because it's time, guys. It is time. So until the next time, thank you for listening to another and watching another episode of The Download, where I talk about things that you won't. Love you. Peace. Namaste. Until the next time. Thank you, my solidifiers. I'll see you soon.